Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and standtogetherhawaii.com. And I'm really excited today. My guest today is Louis Herms of Screw Big Gov. He's also the, I believe, producer and creator of Hurricane Hell, and it's the story about Hurricane Helene. He went over there and did a full documentary on it. And the United States is pretty much basically on fire, and I'm really excited to have Louis as my guest today. So, Louis, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the hard work that you put into all of this stuff. It's like minds are fun to talk to for sure.
Yeah, I'm the author. You guys remember Great Maui Land Grab? The tagline, it really says it all. It's what caused the Maui fire and is your home next. You can get the book at Great Maui Land Grab book.com. Put truth in the coupon code, get 10% off. It's also available on Amazon. But Lewis, let's talk about first. Let's go back to just because these attacks, they're attacks on Americans.
Mhm.
And let's go back to Hurricane Helene because you started that. I'm going to do a quick screen share and just show people where they can find you. And also, this is your documentary. So here is Screw Big Gov, Hurricane Hell, Helene, Unnatural Disaster. You did a whole documentary on this. It's something you people can just go watch it for free right on your website. And the website again is screwbiggov.com. Tell us a little bit about your journey with doing this, and then we'll go into the fires.
Yeah, so it's interesting actually because many people know me for the Truth Tours and the Unity Tours and stuff like that. So we were on a 50 city tour and we got down to the last 10. I think we were in Albany, New York, I believe. And a couple days before that, Hurricane Helene hit, and we felt compelled to make a difference. Couldn't quite figure out what because we still had a commitment of 10 more cities. Actually, I think it was 11 at the time to finish out. So finally, we got together, and I just said to the team, I go, guys, we need to shut it down. We need to see what we can do to help. And unanimously, our whole team said, yeah, let's do it. Let's get this done. So we were going to head to North Carolina, but we started calling some firefighters we knew, so on and so forth, and found out that it was pretty much blocked off at the time. There's just no way to get to where we needed to get to help. And so what we did is we called a friend, and her and her boyfriend were doing amazing work in Tampa, down south. So we decided to bypass all that stuff, and we went right down to Tampa and started helping cleaning out houses. And we raised a ton of money. We kept bringing U-Haul fills of trucks to there, and end up doing in North Carolina. So what happened is I was scheduled with my wife. We were actually going to, after 5 years, it's going to be like our first vacation. So we were scheduled to go to Cancun, and Hurricane Milton's heading over, and we're getting all these calls to help in North Carolina. So what we decided to do is go south to Miss Milton because we were already in Tampa, stay in Miami, and then logistically help with the North Carolina situation, right? And Tennessee. And then we shut down our trip, and we started doing that. And then when I got home, because we were involved in kind of putting things together logistically standpoint, I just have to have the right contacts there. I would be on the phone with people constantly, and one of the phone calls were Lewis. They're lying to us about the body count. And I said, really? I said, I think at the time it was maybe 170, 180. I'm not quite sure how many. They were saying and the guy on the phone, he goes, I'm standing in front of a freezer truck with over 200 bodies right now. And this is one location, and they're reporting the total death toll is under 200 in North Carolina. And then I got another one, and so on and so forth. So all I kept hearing is there's lies. Everything's a lie here. Can you get down here and tell the true story? And I said, absolutely. So that's when I got a couple people from my team. We flew down there, and we put hands on, boots on the ground, and literally dug in. We were on the ground digging for cadavers. I mean, I was pre-smelling for cadavers, and then we would have the cadaver dog come in and do the real work, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I got involved with this. And then we did really good work, raised a lot of funds, got it to the right places. And to be honest with you, some of the things that got delivered, I think, ended up getting delivered to the wrong places, and they're doing investigations with those people too right now, which is great. Um, so a lot of work came from that, and then I ended up doing the documentary Hurricane Hell, and I guess it made a large impact on a lot of people to start awakening. But within inside that documentary, I talked about conspiracies, and I could show them this is fact, this one's fake, fact, fake. Because in this patriot movement, we have a lot of patriot mythology,
Hmm.
and then we have a lot of real conspiracies that are factual that I think get dismissed because of the mythology that is out there. So we have to really do a good job, like you do, of really finding out what the truth is and what the connections are, so on and so forth. So that's why we did Hurricane Hell, and I was called back there to Tennessee a few months later to do an update.
Wow, yeah, that documentary, I watched it and it really floored me. There was some things in there that I didn't know, and so you guys check it out, screwbiggov.com, and then click on Hurricane Hell. It'll definitely blow your mind. So what are you thinking about these fires? Let's go into the fires, and let me just show people.
Sure.
I found this map that is really disturbing, because it literally shows the let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Right here. This is the United States on fire. This is Oklahoma. Here are the fires going off. Wildfires. We're going to talk about that. And then you scroll out and you look at all of these fires throughout the entire United States. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And then we have Canada. But look at the world. Look at the world. And the US looks like it's on fire, and everything else is normal, like natural. And also, we have to remember that this is March. This is the winter. This is we're still in winter time. So
Mhm.
the LA fires happened during January. January is the wettest month of the entire year in that Southern California area.
Right.
And the Maui, LA, South Carolina, I haven't done the research around Oklahoma, but all three of them had major rain months and months prior, then drought. And it was a moderate drought in South Carolina that happened, was not normal. So they're all pretty much kind of the same thing. And winds, the high winds that are happening. What is your take on what's happening?
Well, you can almost map out a fire now. So
Hmm.
it starts with generally record rains. And then after the record rains, you have somewhere between 6 and 8 months of just drought with virtually no moisture whatsoever. And then within that 6 or 8 months, what you have is you have many cities that are voting on smart cities, which is interesting enough, 15-minute cities. And then you also have insurance companies dropping their fire coverage a few months before these fires start happening. This is not hyperbole. You guys could go back and check this in most of the areas. Those are the things that happen. Boom, boom, boom. So you have major rains,
Hmm.
you have drought, you have insurance companies canceling, and you have some vote on a 15-minute city in the area that's to be burned. In fact, I'm going to give where I'm hearing it right now, right around the Phoenix area. And I know Bill Gates is already has I've seen the plans about the 15-minute cities around the Phoenix area. And of course, they've been going through a massive drought, which is we get it because it's the desert, but they did have a lot of rains a few months ago also, and now we're hearing that the insurance companies are start to cancel. So I would say this now we can let's take a look at that area and see what happens. But I think it's all a setup. It's almost to a no. I'll tell you some kind of information I barely ever talk about. So when the LA fires got hit, right? I just had a, how you get a hunch. You probably a lot of the wonderful work you do is a
Yeah,
download from God, and then you go check it out, right?
correct.
So it hit me, and I go, let me check the Edison International's website, which is what runs the electric through LA County in the area. I'm just curious. So I put in there smart cities. I mean, I'm not smart cities. I apologize. I put in smart meters
Mm-hmm.
in the website. And they had a document from 2012, all the areas that they proposed to put smart meters in, right? Which were the exact areas that burned down during the LA fires. And in addition to that, it was less than 10% of the total cities that were there, but they happened to be the exact cities that burned down during the fires. And I just got flush, right? I go, can this be? So I started to investigate, sure enough, and this was the actual website from Anderson International. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Coincidence?
yeah, I put 21 LA, this is the third edition. Third edition, 21 LA fire oddities, and one of them has to do with the meters because these meters are actually, there's actually pictures of just the meters melting.
Hmm.
There was a ton of meters that were in Maui, and all of them were melted, but the structure that was holding them was completely fine. Then in the Tubbs fire, Fire Captain Matt, he actually saw this metal shed, opened up the metal shed totally fine, no fire damage at all, opened up the metal shed, and inside was a melted smart meter.
Hmm.
So absolutely, they definitely do have some type of I'm not sure what it is. Also, the PG&E of California, they had to go to court, and they were found guilty of it was 89 counts. I don't know if it's negligence or what the exact wording is, but it had to do with the campfire. And it was also involuntary manslaughter. Nobody went to prison, of course, because it's a corporation, and
Hmm.
they had to pay out millions of dollars in fines. So this is all documented. They actually have, you can look at you put in PG&E and court on YouTube, and you'll find the actual video on that. So I find that very interesting. And now
It's deeper than
also,
that.
go ahead.
On PG&E, the person that is in control of PG&E was on the board of directors. I'm sorry, she's in control of Department of Water and Power in Los Angeles now during the fires. She's the one that's their spokesperson. She was on the board of directors for PG&E during for that lawsuit and so on and so forth. So I'm
Oh, that's right.
sure that's
Yeah.
just a coincidence as well.
Yeah, all these coincidences. Too many coincidences equal no coincidence.
That's right.
That's the way that works. And then the fires, the actual fires, I want to show a little share my screen again and show you guys what's happening in this person. This is Oklahoma right now, you guys. Where is it at? Yeah, Oklahoma wildfires update. This was 2 days ago. But if you just look at this is a helicopter view, and there is look at the trees. Like the trees are still there, but yet we have white ash where the homes were. And the trees are still standing. This is the reason why they're calling it wildfires because they can't call it a forest fire anymore. So, not to say that some of the trees don't burn, but they're still standing. This is a complete forest that's still standing, but yet these homes are not black ash, they're white ash. And then let me show a couple other pictures that show pretty much here. This one is really blows your mind the most because this one is let's see, are you guys seeing that? You guys seeing the Tubbs fire? There
I
it
see
is.
it. Yeah.
Okay, good. This I actually went to Paradise. Paradise is 20 minutes from my mother's house. But look at all the whole entire forest. The forest is still there, but these houses are disintegrated into white ash. That is impossible to have happen in a regular wildfire. And then I do want to share this is a picture that was down this, it's a few towns away from me. This is what happened to a building that burned. This is a regular fire. So I wanted to show this because I saw this and I was like, I
Mhm.
cannot find regular fires of houses anymore online. I can't find regular forest fires, what it looks like. So I took a picture of this. It's black, you guys. This is a regular fire that's black, and you can kind of see still there's glass here. Not all of the glass is not melted out. So this is what a normal fire looks like. And then I do want to share just a couple of Los Angeles. This one blew my mind because this was right behind a reporter, and the reporter didn't say anything about the trees. This was literally on one of the news channels, and she goes, "This is Altadena, Los Angeles.
Mhm.
All the houses are gone. All the trees are still there with their leaves. Some of them are dried, but they're not burned up." And the reporter says nothing about the trees still standing. So it's quite a thing. Lewis, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to me, it's not coincidence anymore. It can't be. Common sense would say that the trees would catch on fire. Um, and you're right about the scrubbing. I did some research, and the forest fires and the regular fires are scrubbed from the internet. I don't know if you've checked Yandex yet, or Brave, but I have a lot better chance when I go to Yandex. I start to see things that are not scrubbed yet. Um, but it's taboo because it's run by Russia, so we're not supposed to look at that. Um, that may tell us something, in essence there. But yeah, whether it's smart meters or I think you and I are on the same page, I believe these are direct energy weapons that are taking down these houses because they could target it in a
Mhm.
way that it won't even affect the trees in some surrounding areas. So it's very obvious at this point, and like you say, the map with all the fires that are there that are going on. These aren't
Mhm.
accidents. I can tell you, living in Southern California, we don't have Santa Ana winds in January. That's not a normal thing to have happen in January. But we had gusts up to 120 miles an hour. I'm just crazy. But the way the wind acted, I was trying to get it on film and I couldn't because on a normal windy day, even with Santa Ana winds out here, you can get it on film because it's a constant gush and then a little bit of pullback and then it goes like mild to nothing to wham, and a 100-mile-an-hour wind hits like for 5 seconds and then you can't even get it on film. It stops and then again and again. So it was very very odd. I full on believe this is weather manipulation at this point. I don't think I honestly think if you say it's not, you're probably just so asleep at this point. There's not much hope for you currently.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm hoping these people will wake up. And that's another reason why I wrote my book because it was the ending explains who owns America and how what we can actually do. But I feel that people want to know what's happening. Like I have these in our cafes here on the Big Island, and then I believe a lot of normal people, people who don't really follow what we've been following, are getting it and hopefully waking up. But I do want to share what you've just talked about, which is the direct energy weapons. This was the Direct Energy Weapons Act through Congress of 2016. This act passed through Congress, and it says that since the 1960s, the Department of Defense has invested more than $6 billion in direct energy weapons science and technology. But they were concerned that despite this investment, they couldn't bring the program to fruition. So Congress took it over, and people's tax dollars happily paid for that. And then the other thing is a possible, we don't know for sure, obviously, but a possibility of this is a patent for a microwave transmission using laser generated plasma beam waveguide patent 6377436B1, and it was issued April 23rd, 2002. And this last one I want to share because you mentioned the weather, which is right here, the Weather Modification Act of 1976. They've had weather modification for a very, very long time. And this says a review and analysis of research efforts and needs in weather modification technology. So this has been going on for a long time. The very first weather modification patent was in 1891 to seed clouds for
Right.
rain. So that's you mentioned that earlier. That was in 1891. So it's really hard for us to fathom that because that's when the horse and carriage was happening. So, but I don't think this world is what we think it is.
No, no, it's well, the controllers have been in control for thousands of years, not just a couple hundred years. That's just the way it is. And we're doing the best as we, the people right now, to fight back at them. The challenge, though, is the suppression of the information is so strong until just recently, we really hadn't had any traction. But I think now the genie's not going to get back into the bottle, which is the good thing. But people put all the faith in Trump and Elon Musk. And let's just for a second assume they're doing their job. They're working on a federal level. They're not, they have virtually no effect on city, county, and state, right? So we, the people, need to do all the work. And until we start to do what you're doing or what I'm doing, and so on and so forth, we're not going to be able to take this back because you'll probably bring it up, but there's a dude that was in Vegas for the shooting that's now in and I pointed this out literally the day of the Lahaina fires. I pointed this out. He's now I believe the chief of police in Maui.
Yeah.
So the reality is these things are all very controlled. They know what they're doing. This is on purpose, but we need to know what to look for and how to fight back. Um, but we're still sitting here talking, so that's a good sign.
That's a really good sign. Yeah, my whole YouTube channel is demonetized. Like it seems like I get demonetized every 3 months. After the 3 month period, I'm like, okay, great. Now I can get more traction. And then I get a strike. Then I get another strike and I get demonetized again. But I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing and still I really appreciate the guests I'm having
Yeah.
and it's all good. But so and I absolutely agree with you 100% that the power people have right now is locally. And these are poster children for what they want the agenda. Their agenda is to bring in these smart cities, and who really wins are the renewable energy companies, the electric companies, and who owns all of that. And that's all about control. And who owns
Hmm.
that are the elite bankers. So, but those are the poster children for that. That doesn't mean that you guys watching, that doesn't mean it's not coming in your area just because there's not a fire. In Big Island, we didn't have a fire so far, but we do have a general plan that has a lot of UN agenda things in it. They want to make most of the Big Island conservation land where only a park can be on it. They want to turn other parts of it into natural land preserved for nature. No people, no living, no farming, nothing on it. There's so many things in there. So when I'm saying this, is that you guys watching, you need to go check out your general plan. You need to go to these county council meetings, no matter how boring they are, and you got to speak up. You got to get your crew together. I created standtogetherhawaii.com for that reason. So Lewis, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you're doing. What's your next project on this? And well, first, before we go into that, what do you think is going to happen here? Because we have most of the United States right now burning down. So this is I know that this can be really scary for a lot of people.
Well, I do think that the Trump administration needs to start mentioning something about this. The challenge is, and that if they do, there could be an absolute panic. And it's kind of it's and I get it from their point of view. It's a hard thing to deal with because the last thing you need is a bunch of mountain people or a bunch of rednecks just going around shooting everybody. You know what I mean? Because that's going to create some type of anarchy. Although there's part of me that thinks maybe it's time to get something done at the same way. So I think right now what you're doing is actually the most important thing that people could be done. It's awareness, 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 awareness. But what we really need to focus on, and I do this with my other platform, Remember Your Oath, is we need to give the markers for people to look at so they can preemptively know what's going to happen. And the reality is these 15-minute cities are going to be sold in a way that they're going to be very attractive.
Yeah.
People are going to say, wow, this is amazing. This is beautiful. Look at all the stuff they're doing, so on and so forth. And they'll be sucked into them. What they're not realizing is the access to those 15 mini cities will be able to be shut down anytime they want to, so they have full control. They'll be able to shut down all the electrical like that. In some cases, in the contained areas, they'll be able to shut down the oxygen. People don't think this is real, but they're going to be so attractive. You're going to go, oh, I can't wait to move into a 15-minute city. It has everything within walking distance. What? Just so beautiful. That's the game that they play, right? You mentioned something. I think people should look for this. You should absolutely look for when they're claiming that they want something to be natural, because they're always talking opposite from what they want. When they federalize land, you better be very, very careful of what they're doing. When they claim land is untouchable for a historical reason, very,
Mm-hmm.
very careful. And another game I think they're playing right now, they've been testing in the outside the Amazon forest or within it, is they got so much pushback because the Amazon forest is being just decimated by humans, cut down. So what they started doing is they replanting trees. Well, you would think that would be good, but people don't realize the type of trees they're
I was thinking that.
replanting are palm trees, and the palm oils, you can grow nothing on that land. And the palm oils destroy everything around it. So what happens is you don't the indigenous crops and animals don't come back, right? And it makes it very easy for them to say in the future, well, look at we can't grow anything on the land anyways, so let's tear these down and let's build this or build that. So you think they're saving the rainforest right now? What they're doing is they're putting a barrier around the outskirts of the rainforest to prevent it from growing back. And I know this is kind of off subject, but it's really not because these are the games that are constantly played, and it's just as sick as hell.
And this is a long-term game. Like we as human beings, we have our lives and we're just looking for the next, whatever it is that we're doing, our next interview, our next concert or whatever. And it's so small. Or if you go to school, it's like 4 years in that school or however long that is. But this is a long-term game. This is hundreds of years. So
Exactly.
I love that you said the control system has been in control for thousands of years. Can you, because I've shared this too, and I love your perspective on who is in control and who is in charge for thousands of years. We're on the same page.
Yeah, well, what we have to really look at too, and I think it's very important, is we the people have been conditioned to plan for next weekend, right? The deep state cabal is a multi-generational plan, so they don't really care if it happens in their lifetime because they trust through their family lineage that will happen in their son or daughter's lifetime or their granddaughters and so on and so forth. So they literally are focused on just carrying on the plan directly. We're we the people, we're all over the place, and it's hard for us to plan too far in the future. They know that that's not what we do. So I can go back really far. I mean, this really can go back to Egyptian times, and there's a connection through China and how the Mayans were decimated and so on and so forth. But let's go a little bit closer. So over 1,000 years ago, all about 1,500 years ago, there was something that was called the Khazar, the Prince of Khazar. And what they did in that area, which you would now know as Ukraine, they practiced what's called Babylonian black magic. And the practice of the Babylonian black magic becomes so bad that surrounding countries were being infiltrated with this, and the women and children were being killed, sacrificed, and used for these rituals. So the surrounding countries asked the most powerful country at the time, which we would know as Russia, right? They asked the Tsar Alexander, say, can you do something about this? So what he did is he had a conversation with the Prince of Khazar at the time. By the way, that Khazarian, the Khazar symbol still
Mhm.
exists today on the Ukrainian flags and on Zelensky's chest, even as he was talking to President Trump in the Oval Office, he was wearing it on his chest. So they're telling you all the time. So what happens is, in regards to that, the Tsar of Russia went in and said, "Here, guy, you can't do this anymore, right? You have to pick a religion, or all of us are gonna come after you, and we're gonna decimate you." And the three choices, he said, you can pick Islamic, you can pick Christianity, or Judaism.
Mhm.
They chose Judaism because it was a very ritualistic religion. So they understood that they could hide their rituals underneath the rituals that were already within inside their doctrine, right? And then later they rewrote scripture, Jewish scripture, and so on and so forth. So bring fast forward today, that's called the Khazarian Mafia. Now, those are fake Jews.
That's correct.
And I've literally within the same hour I've been called an anti-Semite and a Jew lover because I'm just explaining the factual basis of what's going on. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not saying, hey, all Jews are bad, and then I'm not saying all Jews are good. So, both sides hate me because it has to be that black and white
It has to be.
Masonic thought process, and that's not what's going on.
That's right.
So we're dealing with fake Jews now, which transformed into the Rothschilds, which actually changed their name into the Rothschilds. They run the banking system, and then they connected with the Rockefellers. So in the United States, we live what I call inside the Rockefeller realm, which is the manipulation of the big pharma and everything we have today. So you connect big pharma with the government, with the banking system, and the government runs the education and everything else. You have complete control of, in fact, I'm doing a film on this, of what I call the greatest psyop in the world, the Great American Psyop, where we believe we live in freedom,
Yeah.
but they throw so much bread and circus at us, so much that we even tell people we live in freedom. And I can tell you, we have people that come over this country all the time from other countries that I talk to, and they're like, wow, you guys aren't free. You're controlled media, you're this, you're poisoning your people. My wife and I travel a lot, and she'll be the first one to tell you because she dives into the food. The food in other countries is a whole nother level above the poison stuff that we eat here. So it's intentional. It's been going on for a long time. I think it really took off when the Khazarian mafia were able to hide under Judaism and really start pushing their territories all over the place because they were covert at the time.
Mhm. Absolutely. 100%. Everything I researched lines up exactly with what you're saying. So thank you so much for that. Lewis, any final thoughts, any final positive words that people can take with them that, because there is hope, you guys, there is hope. I really feel that this, like we're in a frequency field. This is a game. And they want us to be in fear. They want us to be afraid. But when you drop in to your heart and you find your relationships and clean up your own relationships, including your own self-love for yourself,
Mm,
that's where your power comes from. That's where your intuition, you'll have a stronger line to the infinite creator where your intuition will guide you to
mhm,
what is your next step. Because I do believe that this is a game that we came to play, that there is an evil here. I mean, with the Khazarian mafia is very evil. They used to the back in the days they would literally attack travelers. I mean, there was so many reasons why that prince or that the Tsar of Russia said, "You guys need to clean up your act here and pick a religion because we can't have this anymore."
mhm.
Because they did so many horrific things, and in my opinion, still are doing that. But I feel this is a game. This is an infinite creator that is here, and we have to line up with that. And that's what my prayers are about. But Lewis, any words of wisdom or that you'd
No,
like
I
to
love
share?
that. Yeah, and it doesn't stop with the Khazarian mafia. You have the Jesuits
The
that are working
Jesuits.
with the Khazarian mafia. You have the Freemasons, which are working all together. And then, but this is going to freak a lot of people out. You have, yes, it's real, the Illuminati that is working with all under the Tri-City states. So that's Rome, City of London, and DC. This is all collaboration, which makes it even scary. But the challenge is, if we can get our message directly from the divine, we win immediately. I believe people second guess this. I have a friend that's actually a truther, and he frustrates me because it's constantly, he'll get a message from the divine, and then he'll go, okay, but should I do this, or should I go left, or should I go right, or what are people going to think, and so on and so forth. It's just, no, it's so, just take it, go with it. So an example. This right here, see that Q?
Yeah.
It's a Q. Cube is a psyop. Now, I believe it could be a good psyop, but here's the challenge. The challenge is the message that people are deriving from it. Great example. The most powerful message that everybody took from Q was trust the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you really dive into Q, trust the plan does not mean sit on your couch, wear your froggy mask, and eat your popcorn. That's not what it means. It's not, but what happens is, just like the Bible, just like other scripture, it was misinterpreted for the benefit of man to do nefarious things with it. I'm not saying the people that said trust the plan were intentionally doing it, but they certainly were doing it for clicks and monetization, right? So I've done my research. Trust the plan means we, the people, are the plan. That's what the true plan is. And even whether people liked President Trump or not, he did make a message that should resonate. On January 20th, 2017, he did stand in front of a military contingent and he did say, we are giving it back to we, the people. Whether you guys like Trump or not, doesn't matter. It really didn't. I've been saying this forever. We, the people, are the plan. We, the people, have to make the difference. We need to step up within our communities. And if one gets to makes two, two will make four, four will make 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and it goes on and on and on and on. This is so powerful. Don't worry if you feel like you're on an island. Get it? Like Michelle.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you're isolated. You get one, and those two will turn into four and so on and so forth. And we will win because if we're listening to God directly, in my opinion, not second guessing this. And it took me over 50 years to figure that one out, Michelle. I was the guy that could take a square peg and I could slam it in a round hole, no problem. I always win, but what was the ramifications of the win? Right now, I just get the message from God, I do my work, and it comes out fantastic. So I would say if we can make that connection and one gets two, two gets four, and so on and so forth, we win. There's no way that the cabal can overcome that. The only reason why they've been overcoming it is because they've convinced us we don't have the power.
Yep. And fear. Fear is super, super strong, super strong. So, when I've done things that I was afraid to do, I've gone into the police department and I've told them these masks don't work. I've got, just story around it. But I would always be going there and I'd be saying, okay, divine creator, infinite creator, I'm giving this to you. I'm going to do this. I'm afraid to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because this is what you're calling me to do.
Mhm.
And, when I wrote this book, I was up till midnight. I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I knew it was so weird. Like you said, it was like I knew which chapter was next. And I would put something in on my URL and this things would pop up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was over 200 sources. And I just had to, yeah, I just had to do that. So now we're doing this and you're doing what you're doing. And you guys watching, follow your guided intuition. It's not a mistake. And especially in your neighborhood, because you're in that area for a reason. You're not just put there willy-nilly. You're in there for a reason in that area. You've got this. We've got this together. Check out screwbiggov.com and definitely watch Hurricane Hell. It will wake you up to things that I didn't even know about. Definitely an amazing documentary. Congratulations on that, Lewis. And let's do a quick prayer. Infinite creator of all things, you are beating our hearts, you're breathing our bodies. You're running the tides in the ocean and you're guiding the sun across the sky. Great Spirit, we trust you. We trust our own journey. We trust what is ours to do, what is our kuleana, and we follow our guided intuition. We know that we are always protected. There are legions and legions of angels that always surround us. We are never, never, never alone. And Great Spirit, we find that part in our heart that knows that this world can be a better place. We know that those who do not value human life, who do not value freedom, who do not value people's property, we see a beautiful white light that is binding them, and that white light is filled with the infinite unconditional love. The power of love is so much greater than any darkness, and we bind them from doing any more harm. We bind them with that sacred infinite intelligence of infinite love that power that has created planets, that has created life. We bind them from doing any more harm. And Great Spirit, we just send those people who have been attacked, whose homes have been destroyed or are currently being destroyed. We send them a spark of hope that things can be better, that they are also guided, that they are also kept safe. We see this world where all people matter and all children are safe and they can grow up in a world that is truly, truly free. We call that forth now, Great Spirit. We know that it is done. And we send Lewis and his team and his family so much aloha, so much mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much for all the work that they've been doing and all of their choice to stand and move toward what they're guided to do and the courage that that takes. Thank you so much, Great Spirit, and Lewis's higher self that decided to come to this planet at this time in history. Mahalo so much for that. We know it is done, and so it is. Lewis, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk with you soon.
Grateful for you, Michelle.
Aloha, everyone.